Hey there. Welcome to this week's episode of Epic Entrepreneurs, brought to you by Action Coach Growth Partners. I'm your host, Bill Gilliland. And in this podcast, you'll find three things. You're going to hear real stories from real entrepreneurs that will help you along your entrepreneurial journey. You're also going to get business tips to help you scale up faster, and you're going to get actual coaching to help you get better real world results to be the best entrepreneur you can be. Hey, and if you like the podcast, remember to subscribe. And now, enjoy the show. Hi there. Welcome to this week's episode of Epic Entrepreneurs. I'm Bill Gilliland, your host, and I'm here with Justin Powell from Valor Private Wealth. And I'll let Justin tell you who he is, but we've known each other for a while. We've been friends, clients, played golf together. It's a lot of cool things. So there's a lot of topics we can talk about, but we're going to talk about business and growing businesses and being in business and all things business today. So it's great to have you, Justin.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Bill. I was really excited when you asked me to do this. I always love this format and this to reach out to people. So thanks again.
Yeah. So tell us, just give us the Cliff Notes version of
Sure.
Valor and what that's about.
Yeah, so Valor Private Wealth, we specialize in, or I should say, we focus on working with business owners and everything that entails from a financial perspective. We do deep financial planning with them around, what to do in the near term, how to, develop an exit plan from the business to, figuring out what their business is worth and how to potentially invest profits in a more passive way for their long-term future. But in a nutshell is what we do.
That's interesting because that's a bit of a niche. And what I find is a lot of people in your space in the what I'd call the wealth management industry, they're just looking for a chunk of money that somebody has. Maybe they've gotten a 401k or a retirement or something like that, or a big chunk to invest. But how is it different working with business owners?
Well, we're business owners. My business partner and I we both own this firm. And so, what we were finding was that our ideal client tended to be a lot like us. And those were the people that, we had the most in common with as well in how we, are in our daily lives and how we run our businesses. So we found that in working with business owners, we ended up, resonating really quickly with them. And we're able to add value very quickly because, as you know, as a business owner, it can be hard to check off every box in your personal life when you have so much going on in your business. And so, that's where we come in on that financial side, is making sure that, people are thinking about what does it look like after all of this, after the busy days, after running around, what does that look like for you? Or how do you envision that? And then how can we get you there? Right. And so you're right. Most practices in our space is built on, working with individual advisors, individual clients or families. And we still do that, because our business owners have families and are individuals, right? So there's a lot of those. But we just found a lot of success in working with people with shared values, shared interests, and it's been real successful for us. So
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I've always enjoyed working with you guys, and is that I've always felt like the business should give you what you want personally, not the other way around. You shouldn't have to give up all your personal stuff to have the business. So one of the things that I find is super helpful is when working with business owners is when we have very clear personal goals so that the business can go to work to reach those personal goals. So tell us a little bit about your process of helping people figure out what they really want.
sure. Yeah. So when we're onboarding a new client, we typically start with a lot of fact finding and, as I like to call it, turning over rocks, right? There'll be several meetings in the beginning where we're just gathering data, right? Whether that's about their business and how those cash flows are and what sort of surplus cash they have to keep on hand and what extra profits they have and what do we want to do with those, down to personal finances and what do those look like and so we do a really deep dive on the front end from a planning perspective to gather that information so that we can step back, process that information, and then hopefully tie that information to their current goals and their long-term goals, and look at where we can add value by maybe taking the blinders off, as it were, and so that people can see maybe parts that they're missing, or take blinders off and show them, this is what I really love is when we show them maybe their situation is better than they thought, right? That's always
Every
that's a win.
once in a while.
Every once in a while, it turns out. Well, it's often that people are actually in a better position than they thought they were. So a lot of due diligence, a lot of data collection in the beginning, and then we process all of that to come back with some recommendations. And then throughout the course of the relationship, we typically meet quarterly with our clients to go over their situation. Often in our world, it's an annual meeting to review something, to review your investments or your financial plan. With business owners, and things have a little bit more nuance, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more fast moving. So we find that a quarterly meeting allows us not to miss anything. Right, a year goes by, you could miss quite a bit of activity, but we're always available to clients should they have a question or should they have something come up. That's high level how that would work. So.
Yeah, the quarterly is good. I mean, I've often found that sort of the 90 days was great for planning. That's what we do. We help people. I've always felt like it was long enough to get something done and short enough to keep your eye on the ball. Like you said, if you go a year,
Yeah.
you'll miss some stuff. You don't keep your eye on the ball. I don't know about you. I used to do a yearly plan and stick it on the shelf and come back and
Yeah.
look at it in December, and that's no good.
It's not, and yeah, just so much can happen in a short period of time. So we're always available to people, but we make sure to have multiple touch points throughout the year, quarterly updates and reviews, and then a couple of really deep dive discussions around their situation throughout the year. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you talked a little bit about exit planning, and I think that is a topic that needs more time. I think I don't people tell me like, all right, well, I'm thinking about exiting the business. Well, when did you start thinking about it? If it wasn't 10 years ago, you probably wasn't soon enough. So tell us a little bit about how you help people with that. Let's just talk about that. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of that is around, well, the client's vision of when they want to exit, right? So maybe they've thought about it, maybe they haven't. Most have kind of a time horizon in their mind of when they'd like to quit working, but it's usually just kind of in their mind, right? It's kind of this idea, and I hear this all the time. Well, I want to quit at age 60, but I know that's impossible. Like that's how many times I hear that, right? It's frequent. And so we like to say, well, we don't know that that's the case. Let's start to dive in and not to go too deep into strategy because I think it's very specific to each person's situation. But we do employ some strategies that help people utilize the profits in their business to position in a way that gives them leverage down the line for when they go to exit the business, right? So that's really important. And we can talk in more detail maybe on another call about those strategies. But I think having those strategies in place as soon as possible allows people to kind of build up that leverage to when they go to sell their business. It's not a move that is out of desperation. I think that's a really important thing that they're not doing it because they're just exhausted themselves and they've hit the wall, right? But then it's part of a long-term goal and a long-term plan, and that you've taken steps utilizing profits in your business to build a way to exit with leverage and with confidence. The other aspect of that is knowing what your business is worth, right? I think the numbers around it roughly about, 80% of business owners look at their business as their retirement. The sale of the business is going to be the bulk of their retirement assets that they're going to live on. But around 80% of those business owners out there do not know the value of the business. And you wouldn't have a 401k at a job and be counting on that as the bulk of your retirement, not know what's in there, right? You would
Yeah.
know. So that's one thing we also can provide our clients is a high level business valuation to help them to start to formulate that plan. If you know what your business is worth, it's going to give you a lot clearer picture on how to plan for that exit. So that's something.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. One of the things I find is that people think, well, I can just sell the business. Well, I mean, okay, you can retire if you have a job and
right.
you've got the 401k and your investments and all that, but you can't just sell a business. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a long process at best.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's years.
Well,
it's certainly,
it,
even if you have a small business, probably 8, 9 months, if
yeah.
everything was lined up perfect. So, so just thinking about it, we people really need to be more planful here as well.
Yeah, and I would say, there's so many topics that come in, like, are you building your business in a way down to how you design your business for that sale, whether you're designing a business that can be conducted remotely, right? As we're, moving more and more into remote work, that could increase the multiple of certain types of businesses, right? How easy is are your systems that are in place able to be picked up by the purchaser, right? Those types of questions, what are you developing that makes it attractive for sale right down the road? How does it compare to competitors in other markets? What are those multiples that these competitors or these, colleagues are getting when they go to sell their business? So all these questions that come up, we can kind of help guide through those questions and help find some answers. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody needs somebody outside looking in. I always say it's like that offensive coordinator up on the field, a football field where they get a different vantage point. They
We
can't.
like yeah. We like to say, "Let us be your CFO," right?
Yeah.
"Let us be your chief financial officer for your personal life and how that applies to your business and everything else." And then we also say, Bill, that the most important professional relationship that a business owner has, it's not your CPA, it's not even us, it's not your attorney, it's your business coach. It's that person, it's you that is going to really help them develop that 5-year plan, really take some of the other blinders off, where we come in and help them come up with a lot of the questions to ask and maybe take to their business coach and talk about. I feel like we're all kind of working together for that business owner's best interest,
Yeah. Yeah.
helping
Well,
them see things they're not seeing.
yeah, I think a business owner, I mean, what it comes down to is what you help them with, which is wealth creation. And you need trusted advisors in all of those areas. You need a trusted financial planner. You need a CPA, you need an attorney, you need an action coach. You need all these things. You need somebody to help with exit planning. So that all these, it's almost like a star. You could put little things around the outside of it, that in the middle is the business owner who
Yeah,
needs help, creating that wealth. And it's like you said, their business is, in most cases, their biggest asset. If
yeah,
not all, but in most cases, their businesses are. And where you talked about, increasing the multiple, we found that, if they can get a business, what I call under management, in other words, working without them
sure,
as the owner having to be there every day, it's going to at least double the
sure,
business at the very least.
yeah,
So you guys have come on as the presenting sponsor for the Asheville Business Summit, and
yeah.
we really appreciate that. We're excited about that, and we're excited about the summit. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to do it, and what you're hoping, and why people should come to this thing. Why should they show up?
Certainly, certainly. Well, I love to work a room. And so, as I understand it, and you guys are about to fill the room with some of the best and brightest of Western North Carolina's business community. And when you told me about the opportunity, I think we talked about, basically just kind of sponsoring, getting involved kind of at a basic level. And then as the conversation went on, I said, man, well, I think we may want to be involved a little bit more deeply, especially with the focus that we have on business owners and helping them with the topics that we've been discussing.
Yeah.
I do think back to the last one that I attended, and how that experience was very valuable. I still have that plan we worked on in there, and I actually met some of my best clients at that event that have become really, really near and dear to me, and that we've helped so much, right? We've added so much value to their situation and continue to do so. So it's been even when it was kind of getting started, it has had a personal impact on me and my business to be involved with you guys, and so we want to not only continue that, for our own benefit, but also for the benefit of others and for the benefit of the business community around us as well. So,
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think the philosophy is we just go help people.
yeah,
We're here to change lives, and sometimes all it takes is one conversation, and sometimes it takes a 10-year relationship. But we're here to change lives either ways. I know that you and Stephen feel the same way. So, yeah.
driving force for sure. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I've always felt, and some of my best mentors and most successful people I know have always said, and it's nothing new, but if you just put helping people and providing value to people first, everything else will come after that. If you put that as your focus, that you get up every morning, and I don't care if it's in your business or with your family or with your volunteer work and your philanthropy, as a community member, if you get out there and just try to make the world a better place in everything that you do, it'll pay off. It comes back to you. So,
Yeah, it all works out. We actually had I'll tell you a quick story. We actually had a client, well, a prospect, and it wasn't my prospect, it was Mary's. And we had our normal meeting, and he was interested in growing his business. And by the end of the meeting, I think he had decided that that business wasn't for him anymore. And, which means basically we don't, there was,
yeah,
but there was no agreement or no money changing hands. He was not going to become a client, but we still likely changed his life for the
yeah,
better.
you
If that
gave
if
him
that's what he
necessary.
needed, if that's what he needed to hear, then that's what we needed to tell him. And I'm
Sure.
I'm super proud of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
you never know where it's gonna take you, but I think being open to wherever it takes you and knowing you're right where you're supposed to be, makes life a lot more enjoyable and a little
yeah,
easier.
yeah, it
So,
does. Yeah, yeah. So, is there anything else that you would like to tell business owners, or any
yeah.
advice, or what do you wish you had known before you went into business that you know now?
Oh, gosh. It's, maybe not what I wish I'd have known, but what I guess you could call it no, but patience. Going back to what we just talked about just a second ago, about leading with the right intention, you have to be patient. And it's like you also said, it could take 2 months, it could take 2 days, it could take 10 years for that relationship that you start to bear fruit. It might never bear fruit. So patience, staying active. I think most people know that you have to kind of be out there, and that speaks to attending the business summit, right? Getting in the room with people that have similar goals and similar interests and values is really important. It creates community. There's support in community. COVID was really hard. I think I started my business right in the middle of COVID, and it was real hard because a lot of that opportunity to get face to face with people just wasn't there, and then it came back really slowly. But I stayed focused on it, and I figured out ways to make that work for me, and actually started build a much more remote practice as a result, and which increases the multiple, which also gives me more time with my family. So, kind of being patient with it, understanding that challenges aren't bad things. They're actually should excite you, right? That's something I talked about with a buddy the other day whose business is going through a tremendous amount of upheaval, but he's viewing it as an exciting time of problem solving and new ideas, and he's just got the best attitude about it. And so, those things come to mind. I'm sure I could talk for hours on stuff. I
Yeah,
wish
I
I'd have.
love that. I love that. I mean, because it is hard particularly when you're new and you're getting started and you're maybe doing okay, but you need the business, right? You need,
Yeah. Yeah.
the just, for cash flow, and it's hard to be patient with someone because they're just because you need it doesn't mean the timing is right to
Right. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah to work together in business. It may be later, and
I
and
can't
that's
think of how many times where I've had a conversation with somebody around doing business together, and it was years, before I
yeah
heard back from them, and they said, "Hey, I've got this. Now I have a problem I need solving that I need your expertise on," and you've positioned yourself to be that expert, and so that takes time. It takes patience. So having enough to kind of bridge that gap in those first 2 to 3 years, I think, is real important, so that you're not stressing yourself out about making the mortgage and that sort of thing, and you've got that breathing room. Gosh, that's really important when starting a business.
yeah. No, the patience
That's kind
is.
of basic stuff, but it's stuff
No,
people.
I don't know. I think patience is hard. I mean, it's always been hard for me, and because I'm like, let's go, let's make something
Well,
happen.
yeah, type A guy. Type A guys.
Yeah,
We tend to open
yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done it. I've done a lot of things. Patience would have been a good virtue to work on. It's always something I'm
Never
working.
ends. Never ends.
So, if folks want to get a hold of you or Stephen
Sure.
and Valor, where can they find you?
I think, email's probably the easiest. You can shoot me one at justin.powell@lpl.com, and I'll give you our office number as well. And that is going to be, I'll just give you the direct one, 828-595-4045. And myself, Stephen Thomas, and Dana Wilkinson make up the team that is focusing on the Asheville area. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we'll put all that in the show notes, and really
great.
appreciate all the wisdom here. I love the patience thing,
Yeah.
and thanks for being here. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to meet everybody at the summit who's coming. And yeah, if you haven't signed up, go ahead and do that today. We hope to see you there.
Yeah, and that website is wncsummit.com. It's wncsummit.com. Gets you to the Asheville Business Summit. All the information's there where you can get your tickets, how to be it, when it is. And so look forward to seeing you there. And until next time, all the best.